There we go. Okay, can you hear me now? I can. I actually have a green light. I forgot to push the power button. Is that better? Better. No sound. Hello. Better. No sound. Hello, Michael. Yes, Benjamin. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Better now. Okay. Is it normal? Is it like you can hear me normal? AV is good. All right, so welcome everybody to Friday, Fish Friday, and FishEZ is here on a wonderful opportunity to talk about some few things tonight, and we're also in the middle of a mess. We're in construction, as you might say. Look at behind me. I have actually taken all the rosy barbs. We've wiped them out from the tanks. Best estimate, over 400 fry came out of those tanks, and they're at the grow out house now. I did take a picture in a bucket. So what I do is I take pictures of the fish while they're in a bucket swirling around, and they're moving, and you can never catch them. You can never actually count them. But if you take a picture, they all hold still, and then you just still in the picture. I just edit the picture while I'm marking mark as I count, and that's how I know exactly how many I have. If you get a photo in a bucket. And so I've got the photo in the bucket, and I'm going to do that, but I didn't feel like counting over 400. So I don't know, I'll get around to it. It was a really good number. So these tanks are now kind of emptied, and we're going to fix them up. I was hoping to do that last night or even today so we could talk about what's next. I'll just have to have another live stream maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow night, maybe just have a little surprise put together, maybe the members, I don't know, but we got some new breeding to go on here, and so we'll select some different fish and put them into the tanks. So great to see everybody, and yes, I did get a new sound system, and the reason why was because I was watching one of the videos I did for the members, and I didn't like the fact that the sound was not good. So I went and got these microphones. So here's the reason why. So let's say, for example, I set this up here, and I'm going to walk back, and I'm going to get all the way over to here. Now the question is, does the sound change? Can you still hear me just as good as before? So that's what I want to know. Because if it's truly coming over the mic, it hasn't changed the distance from my mouth to the mic. So you guys will have to tell me. This is see if it's any good. If it's that good, and then I might just from now on have the mic on. So no matter where I go in the fish room, you don't have that problem with, oh, I can't hear anything. Of course, you probably can't hear anything now because I hear the dehumidifier running. Let me turn that off. Okay, so that's turned off. So, can you hear me regardless? Same sound. Great. Oh, that's awesome. Sounds the same. Mayor, oh, it's so good to see you tonight. Dave's Fish Cave, and of course Jeff Kane, as the gang is here. Okay, so wanted to just talk about a few things. We've got some eggs that came over tonight, and it reminded me of some situations that occur when we get eggs that have just turned white. And we're going to look at, let's just look right now at some eggs, okay? I have eggs, this week has been a week of eggs, so all the angelfish have been just blowing out actually blowing out the wazoo, just tons of eggs, and it's great. It just means that in a very short amount of time, we're going to be having to move a lot of fish, which is fine, because we haven't been able to keep up with the demand, and so there's been so many times when we could have sold fish and we didn't have them. So now we're back to having them, and hopefully we'll always have them. So Frank Schilling is on board. Thank you very much, Frank, and good to see you. I might as well mention too, you just maybe think of it, that we're going to have a the monthly meeting for the Peel Regional Aquarium Club is going to be having a auction, a mini auction at their meeting this coming up, in it's like the 16th of April. It's a Wednesday, the third Wednesday of the month, and you can find everything about it at peelaquariumclub.org. So, Fish Fam link is there with the stats. Thank you so much. Only 4 likes, huh? Well, maybe there's only 4 people that like me. Anyways, so be that as it may, baby, give me a thumbs up. If you like the content, give me a thumbs down. If you don't like the content, thumbs up or thumbs down. It's still reactionary. It still feeds off the system and tells other people that, you know, we're live now. We're here. So I want to show you some eggs. I want to present a problem, and I want to talk about a solution. And so here is the problem, and let's see if I can take a look at some eggs that we got this week. All right, looking at these eggs, we've got some eggs here. These are from G2. Now this is an angelfish pair. This is the second time that this pair of angelfish has laid eggs. Oh, looks like they hatched. They hatched since, yeah, these are hatched. But you can see this is a very good batch. I'm trying to focus. I'm seeing how good this camera is. Not that good. It's got to be exactly so far away. Anyway, these have hatched. So I'll show you what I do with hatched eggs. It looks like they've all hatched. But what interesting thing is, you will see very little, hardly any white eggs. This batch has had big, huge hatching rate. And on the first group, if I go over here to G2, their first batch, they're now free swimming. So this was a week earlier. What we just looked at were hatchlings. They'll take another 5 more days before they get to this point. And you'll see they're swimming around. But it was a good size group for their first time. So that's really awesome. And I have eggs, no, babies here too. We have angelfish. JA4 would be this is a koi, nice, very yellow koi angel pair. And they're just starting to get off the ground. I think at the bottom, this brown stuff you see on the corner, if you can see that, you know what that is? That's just tons of babies. They're just not quite off the ground yet. Then we have another over here. Again, there are wigglers too. There's quite a few in here. These aren't off the ground. These are off the ground. They're now in a breeder box, doing very well. And while we're here at the nursery, we may as well take a look at our super reds, super red plecos. I use the most interesting, I don't know, it's a cave system. Does anybody recognize what kind of cave system that is? There we go. You recognize it now? It's got little slots for baby plecos. It's got a hole in the middle. It's round, it's spherical. Believe it or not, this cave system is nothing more than a simple bio ball. That's all it is. It's one of those bio balls. So, do I have luck keeping them in methylene blue? Now, it's interesting you say that, Jeff. It's a good question. Yes, they're in methylene blue, but they weren't actually in the dosage. So for example, when they're in methylene blue, like this will get like 4 drops, and so it turns it pretty dark. Before they hatch, I change the water out, or maybe I don't, like the ones we just saw, they hatch before I change the water out. But immediately I start changing the water. This got a super change last night because it started turning milky because they're already on baby brine shrimp. The water's turned clear. But even if I change 90% of the water and get most 90% of the methylene blue out, there will be a tinge. So what you're looking at is a tinge, and the tinge will go away as the water changes occur. So this one, since they're at the bottom, is pretty easy. I will do another water change. And the way I do it is to prevent any problems with the fish. I'll show you how I do it. It's kind of mathematical, actually. So I'm going to take the water down to here, where this line is, right here. And then I will measure that amount of water and just put it right back. So let me show you how that's done. But by and large, you'll always have a certain blue tinge, because let's say, for example, you've got, like in my case, what we have here is a airline, an airstone, and it gets stained with the methylene blue. I can put them in pure water. I've taken eggs out of the methylene blue, put it in pure water, but the slate that contains the eggs, the airline that stained with the methylene blue, everything just leaks back the blue. So in other words, it'll be a tingy blue. And even though it's not true methylene blue, it's, I mean, heavy duty dark blue, it's not really a concentrate. That's what you'll find. It's just going to be a tinge. So okay, so let me see if I can get down a little bit more on the, without dropping the camera. Okay, so this is how I do it. Now I have a hole in the top of these lids, and the airline goes inside, right? And this is really prevent the bubbles from just spewing out. It's the humidity control, everything. I try to get lids on everything I can in the fish room. Okay, but there's also a secondary little hole about the size of airline tubing, and I'm going to take this and I'm just going to drain it out. Now the fry are at the bottom, and they don't seem to be swimming around much, so I'm not going to be worried about catching too many. Maybe some. And I take another one that's empty, and I'm just going to put it down on the shelf below, and we're just going to put and position this down to about the level where I want it to drain. Start it and let it go. This is how I'm doing a water change. So this hole is a little smaller than the other ones. I need to do something about that. I need to make it a little bit bigger. I found that the bigger holes are perfect, because the smaller holes I can't get the food, because I'm taking baby brine shrimp and I'm going to just do this, you know, baby brine shrimp. And this one, the hole is big, it goes right in, no problem. This one I have to like target it. For some reason this one lid has a smaller hole. I must have missed it when I was drilling out the holes, making them larger. So as you can see, we're getting some water out. It's draining out. I might catch a small fry or two, but that's okay, because I'm going to catch them and put them back if when I'm finished, because I'm not going down the drain, I'm going into a secondary bucket. This particular one over here, all the fry are swimming around, so I don't do it that method. But as you can see, the water's already pretty clear. I have tried different methods. I'm still working on the ideal method of what you do when you want to drain this down real quick. And you don't want a big, now this will work faster. I've got this size hose here. This is one of the I have three standard size hoses I use here. I have the small one, which is this one. This is the small one. I have the beefy one, and I have a medium one. And they're all different sizes because of the need, and I don't want to be too strong, or maybe I want it to go fast. So for example, if I'm cleaning out the bottom of this pleco tank, this pleco over the side breeder box, I'll use this one. It won't take me a second. I don't want it to suck out so much water with the big one. My big one is like this. These are the only 3 siphon tubes I need in this whole fish room. This is the other one. It's I don't know, what is that? Basically 1/2 inch. I think that's a 1/2 inch inside diameter. Let me just tell you what it is. These are 3 are my favorites, and I use them all the time. So, okay, this one looks like 5/8 inside diameter, just a little bit over 1/2 inch. The little one should be a 1/4. Yeah, it's a 1/4 inch inside diameter. And the in-between one, I have an in-between one, and it's a little longer too. So sometimes I need something a little longer. And this one is in between, so it's 1, 2, 3/8. So 3/8, 5/8, 1/4, 3/8, and 5/8. Okay, those are the 3 sizes, and I stick with these. Now, my point being, this 5/8 one I would not use here because, yeah, I could suck it out real quick, but it's so forceful. It's so much pull. It just will take it down, and the water will be almost empty, and I'll have a box with no water in it in no time. So it's like, that's how quick it is. So now, what I will do is decide, okay, I can do that with the little one, and if the fish are small, you don't want to use the big one either, because the force will pull the fry right into the hose. Okay, so I could use it on this one, getting back to what I was going with before I got involved with those 3 sizes. This particular small one, the 1/4 inch inside diameter, is actually, it takes down the water this much quicker. But I run the chance of sucking up more fry, which is okay if the fry are at the bottom and I can control where this hose goes and just hold it there, and it will go much faster. But my system using airline tubing, I don't know if you noticed this, we've been talking and doing other things, and I've just been ignoring this, so I don't even have to worry about it. You know what I mean? I don't have to even think about it. I walk around, I come back a few minutes later, oh, it's done. So it's done, right? So now I'm done, and I want to put the water back in. I first check to see how many fry we sucked up. And I got 2 methods. I oftentimes will just hold it up and look from down below, because I have the overhead lights in the room. And it turns out I don't see a 1. I also use a flashlight to shed some light on the subject. I've got this flashlight from Costco, and I put it underneath, to the side, around. We did not pick up 1 single fry. So even though it's full of fry, we didn't pick up a single one doing it that way. And because the fry were at the bottom, they were hanging out the bottom, and I was grabbing this much water. Now, here's the tricky part. How do I do the same thing without just pouring water? I can just pour water in there, and the fish go, and they get hit, and you will very likely knock some fish out. You can actually kill fish with high amounts of water being poured in. So I gradually put it back in the same method, but I look to see where the water level is. It's up to the 2nd line, and that's how much water I'm going to put back in. So I dump the methylene blue stained water, and then I get my, it's This is dechlorinated water. And so I'm just going to take dechlorinated water and put it back to the line that it took out. There. So now I have an exact amount that's going back in there, and I can walk away without worrying about it overflowing. So how do I just pour this in there? I don't just pour it in there. I use this bottle. So I'm going to take this bottle, pour the water in the bottle. It's open on the other end. Take this airline tubing and put it back in that same hole. There we go. I'm ready to go. So now I'm just going to pour the water into this particular tubing and let it go back slowly. And when it's finished going through all this water, the water change will be done. There. I'm done because I can walk away. It's over with. Now it's pouring in there at the rate. Now I could put one of these valves on there and actually drip it if I wanted to. I could slow it up. Right now it's just straight airline tube. I don't have a controller on this. I should put one right there. Just to adjust, I can adjust. These I got from Jumco. Those are the airline inline tubing kinds of valves. I have them here. I had a bag of them here. I saw it just the other day. Here they are. Yeah, came from Jumco. It's still in the Jumco bag. It's the Jumco. Okay, these are the tapped ones. I have two bags. One is just for airline to airline, and this one is very interesting. I'll be using more of these in the project maybe this weekend if I can get that working. But this is actually designed, you can tap this into PVC. So I can screw this right into PVC. And how it works is, if you look real close, if you see, if I can get out of the, maybe it's not going to focus. I'm not going to get good focus on this. But anyway, this is threaded right here, and it's threaded. I received a tap tool that's the exact right size, and then this is on the other end. You can see it's a barb. It's actually a barb for airline tubing. So you got the tap, and so this will screw into the and then you just turn the knob and you'll be able to control the amount of flow of water. Shutter Aquatics, driving and listening. Thank you so much for joining, even though you're on the road. No mistake. I hope you have safe driving practices. We would hate to lose you, Steve. You're awesome videos this week. I've been watching the Discus Grove video and several others. So if you're also interested in Discus, be sure to check out all the new videos from Shutter Aquatics. And he's also featuring a lot of his foods that he's developed for that purpose. So that's thanks, Steve, for joining us tonight. So that anyway, that's the control valve. Now it's interesting that even though it has the tap, I don't know if I would buy the other kind anymore, because this one with the threads, it acts as a barb. So when I stick a airline tubing on it, I don't see a problem the sticking and having issues. Let me see. Yeah, it's just as good. It's on there taut. Now that's on the threaded end. So if I had these from Jumco and I had the ones that were threaded, and I can use it for either airline or threading, that would be more practical, because I don't think there's a big difference in price between the two ones. The other one, though, is just barb to barb. Okay, so getting back to the subject. So here, oh, I'm done. My water change is done. The water is finished, and while we were talking, it finished out. Now this bottle here, as you can see, still has a tinge on it. So there was, most of it removed, maybe 3/4, and I'd have to keep doing that, and eventually you won't see any blue. But think of it this way, even though it's slightly blue tinged, it's so watered down that there's not really any real issue that's going to occur with the fish. And to answer the question outright, I've never had issues with the fry and the methylene blue. I have had some issues without the methylene blue, and the fry get eaten up by fungus as well. So fungus is an issue. Those white eggs that you do see, there were a couple that on that slate, you saw the hatched fry, but once in a while there is a white egg or two. They don't fungus up because of the methylene blue. And so I think I attribute the safety in that regard for that reason. Now, on the other hand, I got some eggs just today, so just got back, and we're going to take a look at those right now. Let me move those to a higher. Right now, they're still in a bucket because I've got two batches here, two eggs, two sets of eggs from two different angelfish. Let's take a look at these. Oh, got to turn the camera around. Okay. So looking at these eggs, now these were just laid, okay? I'm going to get my flashlight because that helps so much. All right. Let's shed some light on the subject. There we go. My goodness, I'm getting strobing effect. Wow, I don't know how that was. But if you look at those eggs, you see a lot of them have turned white. There's brown ones there, but a lot of them have turned white. I just got these today. The batch on the right, it appears that most all of them are brown. I don't see hardly any white. But yeah, those on the left, they're two young pairs. Both pairs are, I'll have to think about it. These pairs came from pairs. One pair I think has laid before. One pair has laid before. That would be JB1. JB1. Oh, okay. No. No, I don't have any JB1s here. Okay, so what that means is JB1, no, it was the above tank, JA1, JB3, JA4, but no JA1. Okay, so the answer is still the same. So there's only one. This is the first time that pair has laid. So we're seeing a lot of white eggs. Now, we can attribute then in this case that the white eggs are infertile eggs. Okay, they're most likely to be infertile eggs. However, because the pair itself got very low TDS in their tank, so we use some RO water to create some very low TDS. Okay, now that means to me that they're young pair, and probably in the future, when the pairs or with the next batch or two, the eggs are going to be less and less with the white ones. There's not much you can do about that. That's a problem that can be fixed with white eggs and going away just due to better practice, the males and females getting the idea, doing the right thing. When I take the slate out from the parents, I put them into a container and bring them over. In this case, it was a bucket because the slates were so big. We usually use smaller slates, but the water in the bucket immediately is going to be RO water. So it's going to be dropping, and the RO water over at the fish house right now is coming out at close to 60 parts per million. So that's why we were having this discussion. The pH over there is 7.4, 7.4, 7.8, somewhere in there, and the TDS was probably closer to 60 parts per million. So bringing them over here, now, in fact, I'd like to know what they're in right now. Let's just grab the meter and take a look. Mind you, this is all done live, so so you never know. I never know what I'm going to end up with, right? You know, this is just, I'm going to take the Milwaukee meter and we'll turn it on. I had it over there. We'll put it in this bucket and just take a look. See what the pH over there is. This water came from there. 7.5. So I was right. Between 7.4 and 7.8. Seems to be holding at 7.5. I like this meter. It goes fast. It doesn't take a whole long time. The ppms are 250. That's because in this particular instance, I didn't go down and get the RO water. I used mostly tap water. But usually I use the RO water there. And the microsiemens is 0.38 per centimeter. 0.38. Okay. 0.39, 4.4, 0.39. This is what the meter shows me. This is great. Temperature of the bucket is a little low. It's kind of cool. It's sitting on the floor. But once they get in this fish room, they'll get it up to 80 degrees quite easily. I'm going to just, I want to test this tank over here. I'm going to put the meter in while I'm waiting or hanging around here. We'll just take a look at the big 90 gallon. It's already 6.4 pH. I know I need to do more water changes. Got to watch it very careful. I don't want that big tank. It's got a lot of fish in it. I don't want it to crash. Okay, so what to do with the eggs. So when I get the eggs, I immediately put the methylene blue. Because of those white eggs, they will start fungusing. So in this particular case, it's kind of important that I get them into some RO water. And I have RO water. It's even heated. Just to give you an idea, we'll go ahead and measure the, I got my good thermometer. I'm going to go ahead and measure right now and see what the temperature is in the bucket. For eggs, because the embryo is so young, it's just hours, old, less than 24 hours. So there's really no big issue when it comes to temperature, worrying about, stress. The egg just either grows or it doesn't grow. If it's in warm water, it grows faster, and if it's in colder water, it slows it up a lot. But yeah, right now it's 74 degrees in this bucket. It was pretty cold. But we'll take a look at what happens. We'll take a look at what happens when I get the water, the RO water has been heated, and see what I end up with. Let's find the container. We'll use this one. And I'm going to pump. I'm just going to pump some RO water in here. Okay, RO water. So I have some RO water now. I do have some, it's just debris in the water. I don't like it. I hate it when it's got like debris in it. Let me just get the debris out. I have this type of filter. I just hand filter I use for Okay, just run it through that. Pulls out the debris. There we go. Okay. There we go. Here's my RO water. Let's see what the status is now for this. We're going to go ahead and new local Austin. Welcome. Great to have you on board. Let's see. I'm going to take the water and measure it. By the way, the big tank 6.6 pH. I do need to make some more water changes. Don't let it get too low. I have Lucy's in that tank, African cichlids, no, African catfish. I mean, the African Tanganyika, Lake Tanganyika. Okay, my RO water is interesting. It's calling out as 30 ppm. So right now I'm getting 30 ppm. Microsiemens is 0.05 ppm 30, and the pH. Okay, remember what it was in the bucket? It was 7.5, right? This is 6.6. So there's a big difference in the pH between the bucket water, which came over tap water, and my RO water that I made here. And it seems to be quite ideal. And it's even warmer. Let's see, because I have a heater in that, I'm going to just take a quick measurement on the heat temperature of the eggs. Okay. Oh yeah, it's rising quickly. It's 80, 82, 83. Yeah, it was warm. Now it'll just, I'm not putting heaters in these things, so once the eggs warm up, and it'll start cooling down to the room temperature, which is 80. But the water temperature here is 84. Looks like it got up to 84. Yeah. So there's the answer why I use that. So let's see if we can't stick our, I want to go ahead and stick our eggs into the container. And these have a lot of white eggs on them. So just pull them out. There's the white eggs. You can see them quite clearly, actually. And we'll put them into this container. And I need to add some more water. How you like them apples? I didn't get enough water. Fortunately, I have a nice supply here. Okay. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour a little bit more water into the container to get it to the top. I don't want to pour it right on the eggs. It'll blow them off the thing. So I'm gonna pour from the back side, behind the slate. There we go. It's easier that way. Okay. So now I make sure all the eggs are covered, and I usually rise up a little further higher than the top egg, because the water, as it bubbles, and obviously it might also, it's going to bubble and then it's going to evaporate, and so then it might drop below the egg level. So you can see here we're at the tippity top. See there? So this thing is just barely doing it, and I'm going to set this over here into place, and we'll go ahead and we have the eggs sitting right here. Very easy for me to watch. We're going to put in 4 drops. Toby R, welcome. And Jeff Pelham too. Let's see, everybody's joining tonight. We got 4 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so in about 2 days, after I can see they've developed, they're about to hatch. When I see them just about to hatch, you know, the easiest way to do a water change is just to take another tubby like this one, fill it up with clean water, and then just take the slate out and put it into the next slate, and that works perfect. And then they hatch in the clean water. But of course, the slate will pick up some of the methylene blue, so the water will be tingy blue for a while. So there it is. You see the methylene blue is just there, but I have an air stone right here. Here it is, and it goes right inside this. I put it usually behind the slate so it doesn't blow the eggs off the slate. And we'll turn that on. Oh, it's already got some on, right? Okay. I like to put it on very strong just to swirl the water and get the methylene blue evenly saturated throughout the water, and then I turn it maybe a little down so I'm not boiling the water. I want to get enough flow across the eggs so that you're constantly getting water flow across them. They need oxygen. This also has a cup here, a lid, as you might say. And the reason I do the lid is because there's a certain way to position it so that there's 2 methods. Okay, I could use a flat plate, and this is a flat plate, piece of glass, and I could use that as a lid. But what I found is the bubbles get water up here and it comes over to the edge and drips down and it still gets outside. But using this method, the bubble spray will hit the lid, and then it will form and drip back into the container because the lid is situated like I'm putting it, where it drips back in. And that's the whole purpose of the lid. Otherwise, when I walk by these things, you know, these bubbles going off, you can even feel the water spraying at you. So that's why another good reason for the lids. Okay, so that's good. Last thing I need to do is put where these fish came from. This one in particular came from rack J. So I put J. No, my mistake. I'm sorry. Yeah, this one came from J. Wait a minute, I just have to think a minute. This one, there were 2 of them. I think, yeah, this one's from J. So it was J. Well, you know, I'm not certain. I forget now. I usually do this. I saved it for tonight just so I could do it. Now I have to think about it. Which one was which? This one was from J. The other one was from room 2, LA. And so they're from different racks. And so I'll think about it in a minute and get it right. So what also helps is Malik was right there with me, and he remembers. So his brain's a lot more sharper than mine. I would normally get the when I carry them over in tubs, I usually mark it on right at the time I get them or take them. But in this particular case, just today, it was in a bucket, and I didn't have much of a choice. Otherwise, it didn't seem to work out right. So I'll do the same thing with the other set of eggs, including this set of eggs that has very few white eggs. Those white eggs were probably due to natural infertility issues. However, let's talk briefly about the eggs that were here from last week, that not one of them hatched. Every one of the eggs turned white. And they are from a special pair, and they are not the kind of pair that you see in these other ones, these other koi angels, platinum angels, black angels. It wasn't like that. These were dantums. Dantums are angelfish that are a different species, or they're quite different. They're similarly related to the long, tall, big species of angels called autumn angels. So, there's autumn angels, there's dantums, and then there's these. Now, the ones that we have a pair of albino dantums, and they're great, laying eggs. We can get those eggs. However, as similar as it is to certain cichlids, if the egg is in pH that's quite high, it will result in the shell of the egg calcifying. So that's the reason why those eggs went bad. They were in 7.4 pH, and Dantum eggs are not going to hatch. That's been our experience. That pair has produced probably 5-6 batches, and out of all those 5 or 6 batches, we've had 2 or 3 fry hatch, actual hatch. So we know it's a male and a female. Okay, yeah, they're just normal Scaleri. Danzig altums, dantums. Okay, well, that's a piece of information. I can always rely on you, Mayor, to provide some of the historical information and reasons. I really like that. Appreciate it very much. I learned something. I didn't know where the name came from. But yeah, I still think, though, that those particular fish, that's been our experience, need to be in lower pH in order to hatch. And it's the same is true with the discus. When your pH is too high, they'll lay eggs, but the fertilization won't occur. So what we're going to do in our next attempt is we're going to take the dantums and put them in low pH. So that means we're going to have to get the water at the time that they lay the eggs to be as low as 4.0, 4 to 5. 5.0 is fine. But we really want to see if there's a difference if you can get the pH very acidic. And as far as the fish go, they can tolerate that, no problem. Altums, dantums, and even normal angelfish do very well at low pH. They're from the Amazon, and discus too. They do very well in normal pH, low pH. Yes, they can be raised at higher pH, but for breeding purposes, that is where the egg starts to calcify and turn white. Every one of those eggs that we had turned white. And I do have a picture I do have a picture, but I don't have it. Let's see. What did I do with that picture? You know, just to give you an idea, I took a picture. Yeah, I know where it is. I know exactly where the picture is. I'm going to look at the picture of the Dantum eggs. Here we go. Now I used methylene blue and it stained the egg shells a little bluish, but as you can see here, they all turned white. Every one, last one, not one of those little guys hatched. I was kind of sad about that, but one day we're going to get it right. Fortunately, we've had this pair since they were young, so they're not that old. So that's a good thing. Now, how do you get the pH down? Well, that's what we're going to talk about, is how to fix the problem with the white eggs, that is, eggs that are calcifying. You need to drop the pH, and what you can do is drop the pH, drop the TDS down using RO water, but as demonstrated tonight, and as demonstrated in, now you know why we had that whole calibration episode last Friday, because it leads up to this, that when you're taking measurements and you see that you might have super low TDS, but the pH isn't necessarily low. What you can do is start the natural process of breaking down leaves, and yes, it does put some tannins into the water, and that might be helpful too. So we're going to use Indian almond leaves. We have some. In fact, we sell them at our website now. The website was supposed to be up and running by today, but I had some difficulties late last night making some adjustments, so it's going to take a few more days. But in a few more days, you'll see those. And the leaves that we sell are here. Here's the Indian almond leaves. We sell these, a package of big leaves like this one. This one's a pack of 5. And these can be put into the water, and immediately the water starts to turn brown. Well, a brown tank or, you know, black water is not a bad thing, right? It's okay. Hagen Hill Design is enjoying the dart game, and he's probably throwing a few at me too. Okay, there is RO at the fish house. Yes, there is. And so that's where, yeah, he's going to, they're already in the RO, but over there, the TDS has risen over the course of the last year and a half. So it's time to change the filters, and we're going to do that. And so that we're going to even get lower TDS coming out. So that's what we need to do. So yes, Jeff, there's some little work to do there to get it all lined up. But we already started putting, we got leaves that start decaying in the tank. And also this same issue, let me take a drink of water. Okay, I have my water. So the same issue isn't only with angelfish. I'm going to show you these fish up at the top here behind me. These are also cichlids, and they too have laid numerous times, including the fact you guys were all eyewitnesses to their laying eggs. And here they are. I have had 5 batches of eggs. The last batch of eggs I got from this pair, I pulled because I thought they were going to eat them. They either get eaten or I take them out and they all go bad, all white. In the last batch, 2 hatched. Yes, I had 2 little wigglers, and I thought I was home free, and it turns out I wasn't. So what we're going to do here is we're going to transform this tank. We're going to change it. Now I've got some oak leaves in there. For us in Canada, it's very practical also to use oak leaves to drop the. Now look at that pair over here, man. They're lighter, but I don't know. There's something about the female. It looks like she's bulging. I just get this feeling they're ready to go down. They're ready to go down on eggs. Jeff is on a well. Huh. Gosh. Yeah, you are lucky. Fish breeder paradise right there. Get the water out like that. Now this, yeah, our water comes from Lake Ontario. Yeah, the Cordyceps, both pairs have laid, but they turn white, and I think they're eating them maybe after they turn white or whatever. But the pH is just normal tap water, and I thought we could do it in normal tap water. But this will be my experiment. While the dantums are being processed over at Malik's, here at FishEZ, we're going to give these guys another chance, but we're going to do it by getting soft water. So they're going to go down. I'm going to watch the TDS, and we're going to get it as low as possible. And then we're going to put in leaves. And these leaves, and also I've got some peat. Peat moss is another method that you can use to bring down the pH. And so we're going to get these tanks down. They're only 5.5 gallon tanks, you know, 1 pair in a 5.5 gallon tank. But I'm trying to position the camera. So she's coming up to the front. I think it's I'm not sure it's the male or female. I have to take a closer look. I can't tell just by glancing. But let me show you another product that I'm going to use as well. And I have a box here. It's called Super Peat by Sarah. And it's funny that the Super Peat by Sarah is right here. We're going to give this a try. So this is the big attempt. This weekend, I'm going. They have no bottom. We're going to go ahead and fill it with peat. And it says permanently adjust the pH of less than 7. So it lowers and stabilizes the pH value for tropical blackwater aquariums. You got an angelfish here, you got a discus, and you got cardinals. These are the kind of fish that live in that kind of water. What is it at the top? Is that a ram? Yeah, they do. They threw a ram in there. Angelfish and a ram. German blue ram. So it comes in a bag, a sealed bag. So we're gonna, let me pull it out, let you look at it. Words on it upside down. Let's see what it says. No, if you can read German. I see. So what it's written in several languages. It's using potash. And this product also does the same thing. It naturally brings down the pH, but you wouldn't put it in tap water. You'd put it in low TDS, because if you have high TDS, the general hardness is still not going to be good for the eggs. So you're kind of like, you know, wasting your time. So let's see what happens. This will be our experiment. We're going to go ahead and try it on these two aquariums, and I don't know, this has sand in it over here. I may have to remove the sand, see, in order to put it in. Or what I might do in this case, I'll do an experiment with two. This one we won't put it on the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a filter, an air-driven filter into this tank, small one, and it's going to have this peat material inside. So the water will be flowing across the peat, and we're going to watch the difference between putting a bag here in this tank and the other case where the it's filtered through a filter. And we'll see the difference, because with the meter we're going to be able to compare side by side. Same size amount of water, same fish. I got a piece of wood in each one. I don't know it really needs to have it, but it's there. And then of course the rocks and pottery to lay the eggs on. They seem to have, normally they choose the rocks. They like the rocks. So these smooth rocks like over here, these are the best. These are what they like to lay on. But I really want to get these fish breeding for us, because they're beautiful fish. They're nice, and you don't always see them anymore. Although they used to be very popular years ago, you just don't see them much anymore in the stores. So that's what we're going to do, and that is our next. I like your comment, Mayor. Rams, neons, and angels are the go-to fish for aquarium packaging. So true. So true. If you have those on your packaging, you've probably seen or have had one of those in the triad at one point in time. Gorgeous fish. They get. I always know when they're going to lay eggs, because they get really dark. And the male is a little darker, and the female is the one. In this particular pair, she's got a messed up pelvic fin, and you can see a chunk out of her tail. So I know who's getting chased, and we can see that happening right now. So he wants her to lay. But they're paired, you know, they've laid, and I keep them together. I don't break them up. So that's how that's the progress on those. And while we're here, got some female. We got some of these rainbow fish. These are threadfin rainbows to work with, and we've got these to work with. These are looking great. Ever since they basically are out of quarantine now, but I just haven't moved them. I got this ram in here. I think it's a female ram. It's just ready to go. I just haven't had a chance to fix this up and get it ready and put the male in when I do that. So a lot of things to do and a lot of things to figure out. In this tank, it's funny how the fish love to come up to the front, and the ones that come up are the barbs. They come right up to the front. They just greet me and they follow me around wherever I go. These are our ruby barbs and chicker barbs. And it's funny because it's the cardinals that go to the other side. They tend to go always at the opposite side. So if I walk around the tank, because it's an island tank, and I walk over here, you'll notice the cardinal run away and they go to the back. But then who's at the front again? These barbs begging for food. And now on the other side of the tank are the cardinals. But it's nice to see. pH in these tanks is still just under 7. They tend to be dropping too. When you have a lot of fish, that is also a problem. the pH could crash because too many fish, too much processes going on, too much fish excrement mixing and causing ammonia, and then of course somehow pH starts dropping. But water changes is always important. So if you have an overstock tank, you have to do water changes. It's a must. And here's what I was talking about. These barbs here, there's quite a few in this 90-gallon. We got growing out the Odessas. As you can see, they're just beggars at the top level, and the mascara barbs at the bottom level. They're looking nice. I'm just not impressed yet with any colors. And we have a few older mascara barbs. If you haven't seen them yet, these guys up here, I have high hopes. I still don't know for sure, but there's one in particular that's the bully. He kind of rules the roost, and he's nipping everybody, just kind of staying in the front of the pack. Could be this one right here. And he just kind of, I think it's a he, because the way he's acting. But the colors are just starting to show. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but the top half of their bodies is now starting to come in a gold color, a light golding. And so that'll continue to deepen and get darker, and that's going to be great. So really nice looking when they get older. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see how we're doing on time. We are at 9:15. Yeah. So what else is there to share? I've had some interesting things, statements shared with me in the mailbag, and I didn't bring them out tonight because, yeah, I had a dentist appointment, so I had to run over to get teeth cleaning, and so I was in a rush, and I didn't get fully prepared for tonight's episode. But it's not an apology, it's just an explanation as to why I do have some comments about those who have made comments, and people have asked me, oh, can you do this or that? And so don't fret. Leave a comment down below if you have a question, and I will entertain those. Just looking back, it looks like I missed it. I don't know why the chat keeps disappearing on me. I wish I could figure out a way to live stream and keep the chat up. Who slept through FishEZ? What? Somebody did. And then yeah, yes, Mayor, I'm going to try to breed the tetras, of course. And I have successfully bred the cardinal tetras before. Very, very low number, just a couple. And I did it in a 2.5 gallon or a 3 gallon. And that's what I used. And I was successful getting something. Which reminds me, I want to show you, look at that. Mayor, thank you so much for your super chat, $10, I appreciate it. You are the man. Appreciate your support for FishEZ. Mr. McLurker. I know you're talking about. He's got the Odessa barbs. He says he's got a good number of males on his end as well. So it turns out our males have come into. Oh, I'm talking about Lucas. You're talking about Skull Aquatics. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Luke. Rob Lucas has some of these from the same batch as I have here, and I'm holding on to for breeding purposes. Very nice colored fish, and so we'll see. But I want to show you something that occurred, and it was Mayor's comment that reminded me of it. We have new fish, and remember a couple weeks ago, I put in this system. Here is the new. Oh, look at that! I got a pleco in there. Somehow that pleco got in there. I got to get it out. It goes into the breeding box. But you see who's in there? The CPDs. They're in there breeding all the time. So I'm expecting CPD babies soon. So we're gonna see. That particular one is coming into focus right here in this box. I don't see any babies yet, but I'll need a few days from the hatch. So what over here on the this is the Blake's Aquatics egg trap here, and you can see the CPDs take it over there too, and they're having at it. And so what happens is nothing will occur in here for days, maybe a week or two, and then all of a sudden one day, this is what I get, and I had to move the container over. If I can get down this low, I don't know if you can see all those babies. We've got a humongous group of fish fry from the Blake Aquatics egg trap. So what I did was I wanted to use paramecia for the babies for the first few days, and as they're growing, I see more babies showing up on the glass. So there's still more that were eggs laid at the second part. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can. I can't show you that because the camera's not that good. Okay, and my knees aren't holding up. Okay, but to give you an idea, here is the breeder box that was over here. So when I saw the fry, I wanted to stop the flow because I want to put paramecia in here. So I slid this over, just slide it over, and then I took a new box and started again. Meanwhile, I'm feeding these guys they're on baby brine shrimp now, but there's still some tiny ones that are clinging to the sides. I don't know if you can see them. Let me see, I saw one earlier today. I don't see it right now. Don't know if he would even show up there, but that tells me that the eggs, maybe from the first eggs to hatch, grew up a little bit, and then the next, there's probably 30 or more. They're moving about and doing very well. So what I do is, if I keep the paramecia in there, I want them to be there for the smaller fry, and then at the same time keep feeding them. But if I want to do a water change, I've got this hooked up. It's ready to go. All I can do is take this valve right here and turn it on, and it'll start flowing. So let's do that now. Let's get a little bit of flow in there. Whoops. Hold on, I can't do it single-handed, huh? Okay. There we go. See the bubbles? Okay, coming in. Bubbles have started. It will start to flow, but it'll wash out all the paramecia, right? So that's the reason why I might just do a little flow for a while. But then before I and then after I kind of give them it's like doing a water change. They're going to get a water change from the main tank. And then I'm going to add more paramecia and turn off the water change because the paramecia will just get washed out. And I want it to stick around. I want them, thousands of these little creatures, to be floating around when the tiniest of fry are looking for food. So that's the goal. And I also keep putting in the bigger food for the bigger ones. And that gives me both smaller and bigger, and they can grow up just fine together. So thank you, Mayor, for mentioning that. Fathom. It was Fathom. He overslept, yeah. So then that is it's a good feeling when, I mean, you're always in shock, and oftentimes these things are running all the time, and I check daily, but sometimes I forget to check it a day or two, and inevitably when you don't check it, suddenly you have fry in it when you go to check it. And it was like, I don't know how they do that, but they kind of know, like, oh, this guy hasn't checked in a while. So let's go ahead and lay the eggs and do it behind his back. So it always seems to happen that way, you know. It's like, did I show you all the bushy nose plecos? I had to tear this breeder tank apart because I wasn't catching the babies before they got out, and the tank was just covered in little tiny fry, and they're not going to get as much food, and they're not going to be target fed if they're in the big tank with the adults. So I had to go in there, and I just took everything apart, everything out, and then siphoned out all the babies. I ended up right now with I have 5 breeder boxes with super red plecos and with the long finned bushy nose. So those are all good fish, but there's got to be, um, there could be 200 fish amongst those 5 breeder boxes very easily. And they're all growing very nice. So what I feed those is I'm trying something a little new. I used to feed them just green beans, the French cut, but I'm also now trying a mixture. And I want them when they first start sucking or rasping on food, I want the green beans in there. And that starts a great process. The green is soft and it's easy for the digestive system. It kind of kickstarts it. So that's the beginning, right? So I have the soft food going in, but then I start introducing the very small pellets of bass leer, high protein mix, and it goes in, and also then the two foods together cause the fish, I noticed, to grow super fast because they're getting the protein where they wouldn't get it as much from the green beans, but then they're still preventing bloat because we don't want them to get too high a protein too fast. So that would cause bloat, and that would be an issue. And so that's the reason why I continue with the green beans. I kind of like cycle them both, one on, one off, and I'll feed them just I'll take out, once I clean out all the the leftovers of the green beans that they don't eat. Then I put in some of the bass leer, and then let them chew on that for a day, and you see their stomachs turn dark, and I know they're eating the dark food. And then I put the green beans for the next time, and then they chew on that, and then their bellies get lighter again. So they're eating both, and they're doing very well. So I'm very pleased with that outcome. So it's an idea of helping fish grow when they're a young age, and not just feeding them one item. I think the kind of foods that Shelter Aquatics has developed over his experience and he's offering now for sale is probably a very good item for many types of fish. So you might want to check that out, what he's doing and what he's now making available on the market. Yes, it's not Bug Buffet. Sorry about that. But Bug Buffet here in Canada or in the United States, as I understand, quite costly to get shipped out from Australia. But when somebody has developed and put together a lot of effort to put in some really good food, then it's worth investigating into. Especially, I'm going to try also throwing in some rapashi. I have some left over. It's in the freezer. Once I made a batch of it, I put it in the freezer, and so I'm going to put some of those rapashi jelly balls from the freezer into these Ancestris pleco breeder boxes. And the rapashi is the one I made up with Soylent Green. So it's going to be a very good mixture of different foods. I think that the fish can handle it very well. So we'll see. Well, we've exhausted our time, and if you do have a great idea you'd like to talk about, you'd like me to investigate some, and I know we're going to be showing you some results like next week. This will all be done, these two tanks. So you see these two tanks at the top, and those two tanks are going to be set up, and the pH, we're going to monitor the pH daily, maybe continuously with my meter. And I have noticed that this particular meter is quite interesting because I can't tell you how many times I've left it on and it's just sitting there in the water measuring, and the battery doesn't run dead. I'm just in shock. So many times I've said, oh, I left that on. And so the battery life is really good on this Milwaukee device. So what was it, the 802 MW Milwaukee 802, what was it? Yeah, 802. So that's the model I have. Now I'm sure others are just as good. If you really enjoy your meter, it's great. But important thing to remember is can you trust your meter? Can you say that you've calibrated it? Have you compared it to other meters that you might have, cheaper ones or more expensive, or people that have? It's kind of interesting. When I first met Malik, he wanted me to bring over my my pens because at the time that's all we had for measuring pH. And he wanted me to bring it when I came over because he lived at the time in Toronto, maybe a good 40 minutes away. And he wanted us to compare the two. So you put them both in the same tank and see what results you get. And that's a way of monitoring, say, well, something's not right or something's right, you know, and something worth checking into. But I trust this meter. It seems to work excellent. And based on last week's episode, the numbers are good. And so for me, I'm going to use those numbers, and we're going to do some pH doctoring on a couple of these tanks, and we're going to watch it go. Now, in line with that, one breeding project we will get going very soon is the special barbs that we have as a project, the snakeskin barbs. They too are a very low pH type of barb, and so we're going to do the same thing with them. We're not going to breed them the same as we have been, like these rosy barbs where you just throw them in tap water and put them together and they start outputting big time. We're going to start dropping pH, and we're going to start playing with that quite a bit on this snakeskin barbs. They're being separated and conditioned up right now, so we'll give it another several weeks, and then we're gonna go ahead and give it a try, and we're going to try several different things. We really want to get those to breed. I have been successful at seeing one or two fry on the snakeskin barbs I had a few years ago, and they didn't survive. So I never got them raised from fry to adulthood, and that's the goal. I would like to say I raised those. When I see a fish like these cichlids here, where 2 or 3 hatch, yeah, they hatch. They didn't even stop being wigglers before they were gone. And I don't count that as breeding fish. Oh, you hatched fish. Oh no, that's not breeding fish. Okay, we're at the end of our time, and it's 9:30. So just to double check, any questions? Dars Aquatics also donated a member. Well, that's great news. Thank you so much for your membership donation. And of course, Mayor, thank you so much for your super chat tonight. It was great being with everybody. And Robert Lucas says hello at 9:15. Come on. We know who slept over. Yeah. Okay, so just giving you a hard time, Rob. Great. KJE Aquatics popping in to say a quick hello. Thank you so much. And we're all going to sign out now and head over to LRB. It's helpful. And yeah, say I came from FishEZ's live stream. Thank you so much. And you do like the snake skins. Yeah, well, let's hope we can breed a bunch of them. So thank you very much, everybody. Great feedback, and I always appreciate your help with knowing what to talk about and what you want to talk about and what you want me to show you and to demonstrate some of the features. Of course, being a member is going to be putting you in the top seat for that, getting firsthand stuff that comes out right away. So for all of you, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. And of course, as always, enjoy your fish. That's the most important part of it. Enjoy your fish and keep it real.